Greetings, dear ones. It is a pleasure to come forward again to speak with you today, wherever you are in your life, wherever you are physically, emotionally, mentally, geographically, whether it is morning, afternoon, evening, or night. I welcome you. Thank you for coming forward. For as you gather here, many spirits also gather with you. For when we come forward to talk to you from the spirit world, we also bring your spirits forward, your ancestors forward. You could say, well, how do you know that in advance? Well, because you see, we do know you and you do know us. And this meeting that is happening here on the internet is very interesting. It's very similar, in fact, to the meetings that you could say are happening in other dimensions. Because you notice, wherever you are in time, you can still meet here. You could say it is a virtual time that allows all times. It can be 8 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, and yet you can all be watching this in this one moment. And so equally in the spiritual world, there is no time. And we can say that already we have made this connection before you arrive. And that as you absorb this knowledge and information, this experience that we are in fact creating together, you are changing in every moment. You are becoming. This subject of everything being perfect in the eyes of love that I wish to talk about today, this is very pertinent to time and dimension of frequency. For here upon the earth, it might appear that things are far from perfect at this present moment, in your life even, and on the planet. And I would agree with you on one level. And yet, if you look at it from the divine eyes, looking over the whole universe and the balance of the dark and the light throughout the universe, there are always places where darkness is evolving to light. And there are always places where light is devolving. I can say into darkness or into lesser light. And there is always movement, always change. And you are free. You are free spirits created from a divine source. And you are here in your body upon the earth to see it all. And this is why I title my talk with you today, Everything is Perfect in the Eyes of Divine Love. And so we call upon that divine love to speak to you within of what that is, the divine love that flows in your veins, that is the very power of life itself, that flows in your breath and is a deep knowing within you. You know love. Sometimes you yearn for love. Sometimes you have pain in love. Sometimes you experience ecstasy in love. Sometimes you just feel you have lost love, or you lack love, or you just can't love someone you feel you should love, or you really don't like or love a person, and you feel guilty about that. Or someone has deeply hurt you, and your spiritual teacher says, forgive them and love them, and you just don't want to. And yet I say to you that all this is perfect in the eyes of divine love. So what makes love divine? It is exactly that. That the divine, cosmic, creator, creatrix being is love. Contains and holds and embraces all that is. And that is beyond the imagination of the human mind, all that is. All that is dark and all that is light is held in the arms of divine love. So how is it that I can say to you everything is perfect in the eyes of divine love? Well, because you are evolving. All creation that emanates from the divine source is ultimately one creation, evolving and devolving and returning eventually to the source. It is all perfect. Even though in the minutiae, in a small moment, it might seem very cruel, as the lion eats the hare. It might seem very cruel. All kinds of terrible suffering that is caused in humanity by one species upon another, even looking at it in an interstellar and galactic sense. And yet, through free will, each one is having the experience they are choosing. And as you look, you might say, but surely not. But a child cannot surely be choosing pain and suffering and abuse. And yet, beloved, at that level of divine love, whence all beings emanate, all experiences are chosen at that highest level of the being. And when I say highest, I could say deepest. I could say most central, most in the core of creation, in the heart divine. And divine power is evolving, and divine love is evolving in all the realms, and does so through this vast embrace of all that is, and the vast compassion that is required to embrace the dark and terrible acts of perpetration of suffering, of cruelty. That divine love that runs in your veins, for you are connected to that great power that is divine, all-embracing love. And there is no judgment in the heart of divine love. And it is to understand within yourself what I mean by judgment. What I mean is not discernment, not definition, not that the divine eyes do not see. Well, that is a devolving energy. That energy is empty, has forgotten love, and is falling into oblivion. I don't mean that the divine eyes do not see that. But the divine eyes say, and the divine heart says, you may choose to fall into oblivion. You may choose to suffer. For the divine heart is always open and knows that you will always return, even though you may return in fragments, in pieces, in hellish experiences that have torn you apart. The divine love knows that where you belong is always deep within, held, that you can never be lost altogether, that ultimately you will be restored. Ultimately, you will come round full circle. You will see, you will grieve, you will pray, you will beg, you will come back. And there are many tales within many of the traditions of your worlds of teachers that tell you these things, so that you may learn compassion, so that you may understand always, you who are strong in the love, who are embodying love, who are coming here, because you may perhaps not understand how is it that it is allowed, the suffering, the terrible agony, the purposeful creation of suffering and pain. How can it be allowed by the divine beings whose beneficence radiates throughout the realms of heaven and of earth. How can it be that so-called hell and terrible, unimaginable suffering can exist in a divine universe? Ah, beloveds, just know that as the divine heart stretches and stretches and never lets go of any soul, though the soul may lose itself, there is always forgiveness, always. That is always held out. All beings are created from the divine source originally, and all beings do return. And throughout the universe, this is true. In all races and species of beings, in all dimensions, from the very highest, so-called, to the very lowest, beyond the radar of what your mind can imagine, the very lowest, the most fallen, the most destitute, the most lost, all are held, all are loved. And when they are ready, all will return to the divine source. So, beloved ones, always send your love, even to your so-called enemies, even to those who do not understand that they have fallen, that they are falling further and further away from their own ability to feel the love, that they are fragmenting and being dispersed into the darkest of places. Even they need your love. And your love, of course, goes to all suffering souls. And those are the souls returning, beloved. And you are their helpers. And you are their healers. And with your love on the inside, you lift them up. You give them power and energy to receive the divine love and to be restored into the divine heart at the very center of the universe, to be cradled and nursed, embraced and held safe until it is their time to emerge again into one of the worlds that they may choose. And so it is that everything is perfect in the eyes of divine love. You all feel blessed and held and safe in your evolutionary journey, the journey of your soul here on the earth and in all the places you decide to visit throughout the universe. May the living spirit that is within all things come forward inside you now and bring you this light of the perfect divine love, bringing you clarity of perception, positivity of mind, strength, joy, love and compassion, confidence and courage in your heart, well-being in your physical body, stamina, good health, abundance, deep soul connection and deep understanding that is beyond the mind. Blessings and peace to you all. Blessings and peace. So, beloveds, thank you so much for listening today and going deep with me For above all, your soul is the deepest place within, the place where knowledge is stored from many incarnations. So next time we come together, I want to talk to you about how to access the knowledge that is deep within your soul, from the Akashic records, from where it is stored from many lives, and how to bring that knowledge into your body, heart, and mind. So I will see you there. Blessings and peace, dear ones.